In my last Wilds video, I was singing its praises and saying that the game is headed in a very good direction, but now, we have this. Ooh, that's not good. Wilds has been getting a lot of negative reviews on Steam recently, and I took the time to read a bunch of these negative reviews to see what they were saying, and I've come up with a few ideas as to why this is happening. Let's get started with the one thing that has bothered me the most, not because it's happened, but because people are complaining about it happening. Take a look at this tweet from the official Monster Hunter account on Twitter. You might have seen this already, but it's a tweet that basically details that if you somehow get access to unauthorized content that has not been released in the game yet, you are in trouble and you're gonna get banned. Modding is a big part of Monster Hunter for some. I know that the community is very passionate about modding different Monster Hunter titles. You can call me a purist if you want. I enjoy the vanilla versions of games more. I think the only time I ever modded anything in a Monster Hunter game was me modding a Artorias layered sword to replace the Kirin layered weapon. That was back in Iceborne, and I don't really mod things often. I don't know, it's not my thing. I don't really like it. It's not just a Monster Hunter thing, by the way. I just don't mod games in general. Now, my general stance on the matter is that if you want to mod your game to have like a one-shot weapon, or you have like a brand new set of aerial moves or whatever, or you just want the female models to have giant fucking anime titties, you know what? It's your game, you do you. However, when you do this in multiplayer, you are ruining other people's fucking experience, and why? I don't want to be playing the game with someone that has a great sword that one-shots all the monsters. I don't want to play the game with someone who hacked the Lagiacrus armor into their save file before the monster is even out. If you got a mod to make your character look like 2B or whatever, I don't see it on my end, it doesn't matter. But if your mod affects gameplay, I don't want you in my lobby. Especially if you're someone who somehow got access to files in the game that have not been announced or released, and you're using them in public lobbies. Like, dude, why? It's the equivalent of walking into a movie theater and spoiling the whole fucking movie before it's even begun. And it pisses me off to see people say shit like, no, you shouldn't ban your players, you're punishing them for opening your Christmas presents too early. Brother, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't have a point. You're getting it wrong from the get-go because it goes against the terms of service. The same terms of service that you agree with when you buy and launch the game. I just can't get over how dumb of an argument that is. You aren't entitled to a company's intellectual property even if it is within a game because it hasn't been announced or released by the owner. Like I said, if you're in single player and you're modding your own game to have a one-shot weapon or a set of moves from a different game, like aerial moves or whatever, if you're only affecting your experience, your gameplay, mod the game however the fuck you want. It is not my problem. But under no circumstances should I or anyone else have to deal with your modding in a public server. Unless, like I said, it's something that changes, I don't know, a layered weapon or a layered armor set, something like that that is harmful, it doesn't affect any gameplay whatsoever, I'm way more tolerant towards. But if you're hacking the game, you're affecting other people's experience, and you're like essentially spoiling the entire game for people, then yeah, you should get banned. I have no sympathy for you. In fact, I would strongly recommend us players to keep an eye out on new arena and challenge quests to see those clowns that beat the quest in 3 seconds because they hacked the shit out of the game, and catch them red-handed so that we can report the account and these ass clowns can just get banned. So yeah, I'm backing up both the community and Capcom because I think the community should have the right to mod their game and experience it in whatever way they fit within the limits of their own experience. And to those of you who think you're anime protagonists, thinking that you can just mod the game because your experience is more important than everyone else's, get fucked, get banned, I don't want you around. And to all of you who want to defend this kind of shit in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong, allow me to preemptively respond by saying this. If you're gonna cry on my lap, then just call me daddy. Boo fucking who, I don't care. What I do care about, and something that I will have to stand up for the players here, are the performance issues on PC because shit is way out of control. Wilds is currently sat and mostly negative on Steam, and that is a big deal. Not even with all the Rise hate the game had the mostly negative score. Like, guys, the Monster Hunter community is probably the most loyal, down-to-earth, super into their game kind of people. We're the kind of player base that would buy GU re-releasing on PC just because we want to experience it all over again. And so despite the whole hacking thing being a terrible point that doesn't really warrant a negative review in my opinion, the performance issues definitely do. Full transparency, in my own experience, I haven't had performance issues. My PC is well above the recommended settings, and since day one, I haven't really had any problems. until the shader cache problem. For those of you who don't know, there's been a current issue where the most recent update to the game didn't recompile your shaders. You know, when you load into your game and you see that little bar loading say recompiling shaders, that shit's very important. But for some reason, this didn't happen this recent patch. The Monster Hunter status account, which I think is a official Monster Hunter account, which I just recently found out, has issued a tweet explaining how to fix this on both AMD and Nvidia GPUs. And although this is a quick and easy fix, it shouldn't be up to your players to make sure that the game runs properly. I have done some research and people have said that just in general, Nvidia drivers are very bad right now. And some people haven't updated their chipset drivers that, you know, make the games run a lot smoother. You can get like 20 to 30 additional frames per second. But the bottom line here is that when Wilds launched, there was already a conversation going on about the whole rocky and unstable performance of the game on PC. And now that the game is running worse, or in worst cases, not running at all for some people, yeah, people are gonna get rightfully pissed. Although I will admit, in all this chaos, I feel for the devs. Oh, but Ark, why are you covering for Capcom? You're such a Capcom shield, blah, blah. No, not Capcom, the devs. I very much doubt that the devs are having an easy day at work when their most popular title has been getting some serious issues that were never seen before in the series. So yeah, these performance issues definitely need fixing. This game needs a new patch that addresses more and more problems like this because you are losing players who, mind you, are loyal enough to buy any of your games, any of your expansions, but they need to be addressed, you know, with the proper respect. But like I said, I trust the team, I believe in them, I know that this is not easy for them, and I hope that they will fix the game and make it all worth our time. I know that they can. I believe in you guys. After all, both the team and us, the consumers, we just want to see Monster Hunter Wilds be the best game it can be. Another topic that I've found within my reading of these reviews is the lack of content / the drip feeding. People are saying that Wilds doesn't have enough to do and that the content that is being released for the game is just too slow. There isn't enough to do, right? And part of me kind of agrees, because when we look at this post made by Shincry, it shows the development stages and new content drops for Monster Hunter World, Rise, and Wilds. Now, I'm not going to really bring up Rise because Rise was developed during COVID, so I'm far more tolerant to this kind of stuff as I worked on multiple projects professionally during COVID and it was hell. I know what it's like. Also, bear with because I'm going to highlight both positive and negative aspects of what's currently going on with these title updates. By now, if we were in the update cycle of Monster Hunter World, we would have had 7 collabs, 2 new monsters, and a spring festival. Now in Wilds, we've also had the spring festival. We've also had 2 new monsters, even though one of them was the high rank version of Zoshia, and 1 really big collab. And I want to, you know, highlight the collab bit here because the collab that we had with Akuma is far better than, say, the Mega Man collab for me. But then this is semantics because a Mega Man fan will obviously say, no, Ark, you're wrong. I actually prefer the Mega Man collab in World than I do the Akuma in Wilds. So yeah, you're welcome to disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to tell you how I honestly felt. In that time in Wilds, we also had hub arenas and the new investigations with the 8-star monsters. Now, when Wilds released, one of the things that I said is that I expected the roster to be bigger. Don't get me wrong, I love all the monsters in Wilds. I think the roster is exceptionally diverse. Every fight is fun, but I did expect to see a couple more monsters, and I think it's very cheeky to try and count Guardian Arkveld as its own monster because, you know, Rathalos and Guardian Rathalos feel much more different than Guardian Arkveld and Arkveld. Regardless, there is a clear difference in amount of content that we've gotten with World by now and with Wilds. Now, with all of this, it sounds like I'm attacking Wilds, but I'm about to say something pretty stupid. I actually think the update cycle has given me more enjoyment in Wilds than in World. Now, it's preference-based, so it's not because I think your opinion might differ. The reason I say it's stupid is because both the Grand Hub and High Rank Zoshia should have been included in launch. And if you think that way, which is my train of thought, then we remove the Grand Hub and High Rank Zoshia and we're left with 1 new monster for the first title update in Wilds. But let's bring Rise back into the mix because all of these titles had things that considerably changed the flow of the game, adding a bunch of stuff in. And here's where my biggest copium and the argument that's going to get me called a Capcom Monster Hunter Shield is going to come in. I believe that now the Wilds has the foundation necessary for difficulty to be more pleasant. Title Update 2 could be it. Now let me explain why I'm so hopeful. It's because number 1, in World, Title Update 2 gave us Kolv Taroth. Title Update 1 and 2, I believe, in Rise gave us monsters that were not announced. They were just added into the game without any trailers, without any show. And given that I believe that the team is working hard to recuperate the reputation for Wilds, Title Update 2 2 could be a really big deal. They already announced the return of Lagiacrus, and I've already spoken at length about how I want that to go down. You can watch that video if you want me to talk about Lagiacrus in specific. But if they're opening up with Lagiacrus, the follow-ups cannot be letdowns. Let's be real, we already know that Arch-Tempered Uthduna is gonna make its way into the roster at some point during this title update, but it is really hard for me to believe that it's just gonna be Lagiacrus plus Arch-Tempered Uthduna. It just doesn't sound right. It feels like there's more that they're cooking. I mean, after all, why did Title Update 2 take so long after Title Update 1? There's gotta be a reason, whether that be 1 or 2 new monsters. It will all depend on the quality of those monsters and also their difficulty. Some people say they want Elder Dragons to come back, some people would want to see Seregios come back because a lot of 4U monsters are making it onto the roster for Wilds. But given the current climate with, you know, the performance issues, the people bitching about not being able to publicly mod the game, the lack of content is yet another reason that some people are looking back to just go and play older Monster Hunter games. Ideally, I say give me Lagiacrus, give me Arch-Tempered Uthduna, and give me a couple of new monsters that weren't announced, just like Shadow Drop them, include a quest in there, don't tell anyone, just like you did with Basil back in Rise Title Update 1. Introduce new 8-star monsters, like, I don't know, more of the lower classes, not just the Apexes, to make their fights also really enjoyable. We're also getting layered weapons, which is something that a lot of us have been waiting for, and usually we would wait all the way until the Master Rank expansion, but we're getting it in Title Update 2, which is awesome. So yeah, Title Update 2 has a lot of potential, like a lot of potential, but it also could turn around on itself and be bad if there isn't enough content. Like, bro, if all we're getting is Lagiacrus and, you know, Arch-Tempered Uthduna, Lagiacrus better be the best fight in all of Monster Hunter, otherwise people are not going to be forgiving. And I'm saying this to sound really dramatic, because the truth behind my experience with Wild is, I love the game and I'm going to keep coming back to it, because I really do still believe that this game has the potential to become the best Monster Hunter game when it's fully done. So, if Title Update 2 ends up being a letdown, well, I guess I'll just wait until Title Update 3. And now the final thing I wanted to bring up, which is the cherry on top of all the reasons that have caused these negative reviews. Introducing paid DLC when the game is already lacking a bunch of content and performance fixes that it needs. Not a good idea. I'm not proud of saying this, but I had to buy the Kami skin for Alma because I needed it for a segment in my previous Monster Hunter video, and in turn that purchase has already paid itself off because that video has given me more than enough money to cover that price. But microtransactions have always left a sour taste in the Monster Hunter community because, like, we used to get a lot of stuff like this for free through event quests and stuff in the older titles. I addressed it ages ago when we were still talking about Sunbreak and its development cycle. The only reason why I'm so slackish and relaxed when it comes to this topic is because Monster Hunter does the bare minimum, which is keeping microtransactions outside of gameplay. You can buy skins, you can buy music, but you cannot buy a unique quest, you cannot buy a unique monster, you cannot buy a unique armor set that is actual armor, and this is the bare minimum. Like, the day Monster Hunter does something like, hey, you gotta pay for this specific monster, or this armor set actually is an armor set, it's not just layered, I'll be one of the first people to make a video telling them that they need to change things right now and they need to apologize to the community, if that ever happens, which I don't think it will. But yeah, given the fact that when people are already shaken up about the state of Wilds, having paid DLC, it didn't help. It definitely didn't help, and I saw some people complaining about it in the reviews. I was also planning on talking about the lower player count, but I'll be honest with you, I was already expecting it, but it's just that the number is lower due to all of these ongoing issues. I think back to when, like, Rise was getting its updates on a base game before Sunbreak was even out, people were constantly going back to World and Iceborne because they were finished and optimized games, or even going back to GU because that game has an insane amount of content. So yeah, I think it's normal for the player base to dwindle and the player base for other games like older titles in Monster Hunter series to, like, rise a bit. It's just that these numbers are a bit more dramatic than I originally thought because of all the issues that happened with Wilds. To recap, when it comes to the whole banning thing, I don't really care. I think people should get banned if they're ruining others' experiences online. You can mod your game, not my game, bro. I don't want to deal with it. Performance issues, I mean, come on, guys. This was a letdown. This is not okay. It's not acceptable. You guys need to fix this before Title Update 2 comes out. Lack of content, I've spoken plenty about it, but I think that it needs more monsters, and I think we need more 8-star monsters, you know, more challenging quests, not just, you know, the current Apexes and Gormagala. And when it comes to pay DLC, keep it all purely cosmetic, but also it would just be nice if people had more stuff that they can do with quests than just having to drop a dime for a cosmetic or two. But that's all I got for you guys today. You know the drill. Stay safe, and until we meet again.